Hello again, young lovers. After so long of rumors flying around aimlessly, unanswered questions, and hopes that seemed destined to end up only in fanfiction, the world finally saw, with its own eyes, what had been hidden behind the camera's spotlight all this time. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, two names that have been inseparable since their chemistry exploded in The Untamed, are back, not in a drama, not in a script, but in a live broadcast that lasted only 15 minutes, yet was enough to shake the entire online world. No word of marriage came from their lips. No explicit statements like celebrities usually make when they want to clarify. But they didn't need that. Their gazes spoke volumes. Xiao Zhan's small smile at the corner of his lips, and the way Wang Yibo couldn't help but steal glances, were enough to break the viewers' hearts. This wasn't acting. This wasn't a gimmick. This was the truth they had carefully hidden all this time, but now, for the first time, they allowed the world to see it. The broadcast began very simply. A warm backdrop, soft lighting, and just 2 cups of tea on a small table between them. No crew, no dramatic background music. Only their voices, greeting each other in such an intimate way. As if they weren't speaking to millions of people outside, but simply chatting as usual, in the intimacy they've always enjoyed together. Xiao Zhan wore a cream-colored sweater that was too big, perhaps Wang Yibo's, and Yibo himself looked casual, wearing a black t-shirt and his familiar silver necklace. But more than their clothes, more than their smiles, what caught everyone's attention was their body language. When Yibo's hand accidentally touched Xiao Zhan's and didn't pull away. When Xiao Zhan laughed softly and leaned his head on Yibo's shoulder as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Netizens exploded. The hashtag #IzhanLive topped global trending topics within 6 minutes of the broadcast starting. Reactions? Some cried with joy, some couldn't believe it, and of course, some tried to deny it, hoping it was all just a promotional gimmick. But when the 10th minute arrived and Wang Yibo spoke softly, "I can't explain everything, but I won't hide anymore," the atmosphere shifted completely. Xiao Zhan stared at him for a long time, then, without a word, took Yibo's hand in front of the camera. Silence. The world seemed to hold its breath. No music. No editing. Only 2 pairs of eyes that understood each other, and 2 hearts that had chosen to endure despite the storms that kept coming. The broadcast didn't explain much. No clarifications, no behind-the-scenes details. But isn't true love often beyond words? Those 15 minutes were more powerful than thousands of press releases. More honest than all the gossip articles ever written about them. They weren't selling sensationalism. They were simply showing love. After the broadcast, the Weibo platform nearly crashed due to the surge in traffic. Fans, both those who had long supported Izhan and those who had just realized this was real, flooded social media with tears, prayers, and words of gratitude. "Thank you for being brave enough," wrote one fan. "You showed that love doesn't need anyone's permission." Of course, such courage doesn't come without risks. China's entertainment industry isn't an easy place for love that deviates from the norm. But that night, 2 men showed that love can be bigger than fear. That they chose to love, and finally chose not to hide anymore. Their story is not a fairy tale. They are not characters in a fictional novel. They are human beings who have been knocked down, attacked, even forced to stay apart from one another to protect their image and careers. But now, after all the pain and silence, they are back. Not to prove anything, but to live honestly. What makes all of this so touching is the fact that for years, they never denied, but they also never affirmed. They simply remained silent. And in that silence, they endured. Not because they were weak, but because there was too much to protect. But that night, in 15 minutes of quiet and peace, they chose to no longer remain silent. Fans who have followed their journey from the beginning know how deep this relationship is. They saw how Yibo was always by Xiao Zhan's side during the 227 scandal, how Xiao Zhan smiled most sincerely only when he was with Yibo. No confession is needed. Love like this can be felt even through a phone screen. Now, speculation is no longer important. Are they dating? Is no longer a question. When will they get married? Is no longer a fantasy. The world doesn't need to know the date, doesn't need to know the details. The world just needs to know They chose each other. After the broadcast, candid photos that had never been released before began to surface, from fan sites, from production staff, even from their close friends, all piecing together the hidden parts of the story. They weren't just rumors. They were real. And now, they weren't hiding anymore. A few hours after the broadcast, Xiao Zhan's Instagram account posted an image, two hands holding each other under a starry night sky. No caption, but everyone knew its meaning. And in the comments section, thousands of hearts filled the screen, not with hateful words, but with love. No one knows what will happen tomorrow. The world can change, opinions can divide, and pressure can come at any time. But that night, during those 15 magical minutes, we all believed that love could win. When morning greeted the world after that emotionally charged night, many woke up with an unusual feeling, like they had just woken up from a dream too beautiful to be real. But all the traces were still there, clips of the live broadcasts scattered everywhere, screenshots of their warm moments, and whispers among the fan community saying, "This isn't a dream. This really happened." Even those who were initially skeptical began to accept that maybe love could indeed triumph if fought for with all one's heart. Behind the scenes, not everyone is cheering. Some feel unprepared, others feel the world is unfair. But as Xiao Zhan once said in an old interview, we can't please everyone, but we can live honestly and not hurt anyone. And now, those words feel like a promise fulfilled. They didn't seek recognition from the world. They only asked for the right to choose each other, to care for one another without having to constantly hide behind the rigid shadows of the entertainment industry. Some media outlets began releasing articles filled with speculation, searching for hidden meanings in every movement and expression during the broadcast. But true fans know that not everything can be explained by logic. Some things can only be felt. And love, especially love that grows in silence and is tested by time, doesn't need sensational narratives to touch the heart. That night wasn't about exposure, it was about courage, about letting the world see them as they truly are. Soon after, news emerged that both of their agencies had canceled several endorsement contracts that restricted their personal freedom. Many interpreted this as a sign that their decision to appear together was not spontaneous, but the result of a long struggle involving careful consideration. Perhaps this was the first step toward a more free life. Or maybe they simply wanted to stop living in fear. What is clear is that that night became a turning point, not just for them, but for everyone who had ever felt their love was invalid. And perhaps, in a world that is often cruel to love like this, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan's courage is a breath of fresh air. They are not just actors, not just idols. They are symbols of hope. That in the end, we all have the right to love and be loved. That's all for tonight's story, young lovers. If you're still as excited as we are, don't forget to leave your comments below. What do you think? Is this the beginning of a new chapter for them? Or have we all just been waiting for the right moment? See you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, love is real, and sometimes it comes in the most surprising forms.